connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us on Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, and hope you had a great three-day weekend, everyone. We've got a lot to get to, though, to get started this morning with our large team of neighborhood reporters. In downtown Boise this morning, for instance, Riley Shoemaker previews this weekend's Boise Pride Festival, which will have a different looking venue this year after a pretty tough fundraising season. And also coming up at 6:30, our Sahana Patel takes us to the steps of the Capitol, where protesters joined those across the entire country advocating for a system of government that puts the working class first. We'll get to those stories and much more coming up in just a moment. But first, let's get the latest on our weather. Scorching is the word of the day. It continues, and I'll tell you, maybe they shut down the river a little early.
Yeah, you know, I think that just being by a body of water in general will help you out, especially when it's scorching. So if you can, maybe head to your pool, head into your freezer. That's going to be the best things that'll help you this afternoon. But also, just a heads up, and I want to update you about our air quality. We still are sitting at the moderate, which is pretty good in comparison to those light and hazy skies that we've seen over the past couple weeks. And this is really stretching from Boise all the way up into Baker City. So where you see that area in yellow, if you are more sensitive to that wildfire smoke, it may start to feel like some of those allergy-like symptoms. So just a heads up on that front. But as we continue through the day, it's another short sleeve and short stay as temperatures head to the upper 90s this afternoon. Roland.
Thanks, Sophia. Compared to last year, smoke in the valley has been really wonderful this year. We're pretty lucky. Well, we start this morning in the news with a heartbreaking death in the city of Kuna, and this is what we know. Police are investigating this morning after a woman's body was recovered from Indian Creek in Kuna. Crews from Kuna, Meridian, Boise, and Eagle worked for several hours in what began as a rescue mission but turned into a recovery mission in search of a woman believed to have drowned. Kuna police say no foul play is suspected and the victim's identity will be released once her family is notified. Idaho News 6 will be updating this story as new information becomes available. In Twin Falls, the body of a 19-year-old man has been pulled from the Snake River near the Twin Falls Dam. The sheriff's office says rescue crews had to use side-scan sonar to locate the teen. They were able to recover his body. At this time, the sheriff's office is not releasing any additional information. The Shoshone Ice Caves temporarily closed now after a walkway collapsed over the weekend. Video shared with Idaho News 6 shows the frightening moment. That's video from Jacqueline and Francisco Garcia. Jacqueline says her dad and her daughter were right there when the walkway collapsed. She says her father broke several ribs. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office initially believed people were trapped inside the cave, but that turned out to be not the case, and no one was stranded. A co-owner of the business tells Idaho News 6 that a bolt supporting the walkway gave way, and it's not clear when the ice caves plans to reopen.
And Morrison Park will soon be filled with rainbows and celebration this weekend as Boise Pride Fest returns September 6th and 7th. I'm downtown Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker with a preview of what to expect and the challenges organizers have faced this year. Boise Pride Fest is making a big change this year, moving back to Ann Morrison Park for the first time in more than a decade. But organizers say the celebration will look and feel different after a tough fundraising season.
This year's been tough for us. You know, prides across the country, I've seen quite a change in support, from the communities that they're in. And we're no exception to that.
Dill says they've lost longtime sponsors, leaving Pride Fest about $200,000 short of its typical corporate fundraising goal. That's forced change, from cutting back to 2 days to scaling down stages and headliners.
We shortened to 2 days. We've got a smaller stage. We've got kind of smaller headliners, more local talent. Scale back on other things, less banners, things like that, where we can kind of cut those costs.
But Dale says community support has helped keep the spirit alive, especially through crowdfunding for the signature fireworks show.
We're still going to do the fireworks show. We've been crowdfunding for that the last 3 weeks. We're a little bit over halfway our goal. We're confident we'll get to this week to still have that be the full effect that it's kind of had in the past.
Even if fundraising falls short, Dale says there will still be a firework display, just on a smaller scale. And he encourages the community to show up and support the businesses and performers who make Pride possible. Pride Fest is free to attend with food trucks, live music, and community. I'm downtown Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
This Friday, the Boise State Broncos looking to bounce back from their season-opening loss in their first home game of the season. This one's going to be against Eastern Washington. The Broncos returning to the blue for the first time since winning the 2024 Mountain West Championship, and they are looking to continue their 12-game winning streak at home. The Broncos went pass heavy in last week's big loss to South Florida, so all eyes are going to be on veteran quarterback Maddox Madsen, as well as Ashton Genty's young replacement, Sire Gaines. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. at Albertson Stadium. Gas prices in Boise seeing a slight drop now, down 1 cent per gallon in the last week and down around 5 cents in the past year. The current average for a gallon of regular is about $3.56. The price of diesel down 22.5 cents in the past month, with a current average for a gallon of diesel at $3.76.
A new colorful addition is now complete here at Redwood Park. I'm your West Boise neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, and I'm standing in a new sculpture known as Passage, which uses the sunlight and these stained glass style tiles to add a splash of color to the park.
We actually came for the exhibit.
Jennifer Fisher and a few friends drove all the way from Eagle to come see the newly installed sculpture themselves.
We love stained glass, and it just looks so beautiful from what we saw, and they did such a great job.
She says she's happy to see unique art installations like this come to life in local parks.
It's so unique, and I think that's really cool that they're taking the time to find ways to enhance the parks and attract more people.
The installation takes inspiration from West Boise's history, which was once shaped by widespread apple orchards.
So we developed a passage that was kind of reminiscent of that experience of walking through the rows of trees.
Artist James Peterson says the acrylic pieces are meant to mimic the stained glass of a cathedral and spread color around the sculpture.
I really like the interplay of light and shadow. I find it to be an easy way to attract people into the artwork that's ever changing. It's always dynamic.
He says a project like this takes him and his team about a year to complete from start to finish.
That's an amazing experience to see it finally manifest. I'd say only shadowed by the experience of the community reacting to it in a positive way.
And for the many neighbors I talk to who live nearby, Passage brings a breath of fresh air to a beloved local park.
I've shared it with family and friends how this is amazing.
I think we really need to focus on the positive and bringing people together, and I think this does that.
You can come check out Passage yourself here at Redwood Park. The sculpture even has a series of LED floodlights that will make a colorful display, even at night. Reporting in West Boise, I'm Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
When we get back, a look at the continued turmoil at the CDC as an op-ed from the former CDC directors says RFK Jr. has severely weakened programs designed to protect Americans from things like cancer, heart attacks, and more.
All right, it is 6:10 and happy Tuesday to you at home as you get ready for the day. Neighborhood of the day, shout out West Boise. It's going to be a hot one for you this afternoon, 99. So make sure you pack the short sleeves, shorts, sunglasses, and sunscreen if you're spending some time outside today. I'll show you when we'll see some nice relief coming up.
All right, thanks, Sophia. It is 11 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at your national headlines this morning. At least 54 people were shot, and at least 2 of them were killed in Chicago this Labor Day weekend. According to the city's police department, President Trump, meanwhile, has long criticized Chicago for violence, and he's expected to take action soon. Last month, the Trump administration called for federal troops to take over in Washington, D.C., and now Chicago could be next. But there will be a fight. Over the weekend, Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order that says police will not collaborate with federal agents. As for Chicago residents, opinions on all this are apparently mixed. President Trump will award former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Trump made the announcement on social media on Monday. The award is the nation's highest civilian honor and a controversial one, awarding it to Giuliani, who was disbarred in New York last year for repeatedly making false claims about Trump's 2020 election loss. The announcement also comes days after Giuliani was hospitalized following a car accident in New Hampshire. He has since been released. Oh, and everyone's talking about this today. The Powerball jackpot has jumped to $1.3 billion. That's billion with a B. No ticket matched the lucky numbers on Monday night. While the largest prize went unclaimed, at least 2 tickets sold in Montana and North Carolina won $2 million each. That's not bad. The next chance to win big will be Wednesday. If someone wins the jackpot, they can receive $1.3 billion over 30 years or a one-time payment of more than $500 million before taxes. The odds, by the way, of winning are 1 in 292 million. Well, President Trump is trying to ease the tension at the CDC, asking drug companies to justify the success of their COVID vaccines. This comes as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faces backlash for changes in vaccine policy and also the ousting of the CDC's newest director just last week. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
President Trump is weighing in on the growing turmoil at the CDC, asking pharmaceutical companies to justify the success of their COVID vaccines, writing, quote, "Many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree." The COVID vaccines were developed during Trump's first administration, but have been subject to policy changes since the president appointed Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vaccine skeptic, to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. And now 9 of the CDC's former directors who served both Republican and Democratic administrations are speaking out.
We couldn't sit by and let that be without lifting up our voices and calling on Congress to fulfill its oversight function and look into the actions that are taking place.
The former CDC directors wrote in a New York Times op-ed that Kennedy has, quote, "severely weakened programs designed to protect Americans from cancer, heart attacks, strokes, lead poisoning, injury, violence, and more." The op-ed comes just days after the ousting of the CDC's new director, Dr. Susan Minares. Sources tell ABC News Minares disagreed with Kennedy over changes to the COVID vaccine policy. Kennedy defended the decision to oust Minares by calling the agency, quote, "trouble."
There's a lot of trouble at CDC, and it's going to require getting rid of some people over the long term.
Kennedy's Food and Drug Administration has scaled back the COVID vaccine approval to only seniors and people with high-risk conditions, raising concerns that the shot may no longer be covered for those who fall outside those criteria.
Amid the turmoil, Kennedy wrote an email to the CDC staff that reads, "This mission remains strong, and so does my full confidence in you." As for that op-ed, neither Kennedy nor the White House responded to our request for comment. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
In Middleton, how little libraries play a big role in helping the main library keep books accessible to the entire neighborhood.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, your time right now is 6:17, and happy Tuesday to you at home. If you're getting that first cup of coffee ready and you're starting to make your way out the door. I know it's Tuesday, but at least it's a 4-day week for us here. So you take a look at downtown. It's also a warmer start to the day, 74 as you make your way out there. So if you're heading out for that early morning walk or jog, the morning times are the best times to get those things done, especially because it's so hot into our afternoons. And right now it feels good across all of our neighborhoods. You've got lower to mid 60s along your valley floors. As we get ready for the afternoon, the heat is turning on again, so it's almost as if someone turned on the oven and just forgot to cool it down. You've got 98 into Boise this afternoon, 99 over in Mountain Home, 101 today in Glens Ferry. And while a lot of these numbers are hovering near the triple digits, still treat it like a triple digit day because it is going to feel that way as you head between 4 and about 5 o'clock. Now tomorrow, we do see some slight relief, and emphasis on the slight because it's a few degrees difference from today, but you've got 96 in Boise, Caldwell, and Ontario with mid to upper 80s to follow in our mountains. Now here's the good news you're going to want to hear about, especially if you are not a fan of the heat. Trust me, I'm sitting right there with you. Take a look at our temperature outlook for September 10th through the 16th. All this area you see shaded in light blue, that's where we're looking at cooler than normal temperatures. And so as we head into the next week, that means we're going to see some nice cool downs in store for us. On top of the cool down, also also some good moisture heading our way. So this is our precipitation outlook, also for September 10th through the 16th, showing wetter than normal. So it looks like we'll be seeing some good moisture and some cooler weather as we head into September, but even as soon as next week. So take a look at our 7-day trend for Boise specifically. This shows mid-80s as you head into your weekend, which is pretty nice. But if you like the 70s and you want some pumpkin spice latte weather, well, Mother Nature's delivering as we head into next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Looks like we'll be looking at the possibility of some unsettled weather, but also some lower 70s, so that's pretty nice. Now, we are still getting that southerly flow, which we saw last week, brought us some storm chances and also pretty heavy heavy rain on Wednesday. But you'll notice right now our chances of rain pretty minimal into our Friday. Do see some slight chances down to our south, but that gets a little bit upticked on Saturday, sitting between 30 to 20%, even 40 up towards Stanley. Heavier rain amounts look to be falling just south of the Twin Falls area, so heads up on that front. It looks like we'll be looking at some unsettled weather as we make our way into the next week. But either way, it's still a pretty good week ahead of us, and if you like heat, you still got some time to enjoy the lower 90s through Friday. By next week, 80s make a return.
The Middleton Public Library recently received a budget boost, and leaders say little libraries play a big role in extending their reach into neighborhoods. I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez, learning how the city's library is supporting these community-run little libraries and what it means for the neighborhood. Across Middleton, small community-run little libraries like this allow kids in the neighborhood to access books, even if they can't make it to the main library. Middleton Library Director Lori Clark says the library actively supports these little libraries by refilling books weekly and encouraging kids to explore reading.
Little libraries are important because sometimes kids don't have a way to get to the library. They don't live close enough to walk to the library. So if they go to Ridley's, they have it. Or everyone in West Highlands, you know, he doesn't have to get a parent and come to the library. He can just go to the little library himself.
Clark says these libraries will not only help with accessibility, but also promote literacy, giving children a way to choose and return books independently.
The boy came up on his bike and he was so excited. He said, "Oh my gosh, I love little libraries. I haven't read these yet." So we love supporting the community.
Christine McCarthy, who created one of Middleton's first little libraries, says the initiative has grown thanks to the community support and donations, and that children are excited to engage with the libraries every day.
Immediately I had people coming and texting me and emailing me how to give me donations, and it was wonderful. I didn't know it would catch on so fast. The parents love it. They love to come here and see what the children can pick. It's an adventure for them.
McCarthy says the little libraries also help children explore their interests and encourage independent learning outside the classroom.
Books to meet that need for them. I'm trying to meet homeschooling curriculums. I'm trying to meet children's fantasies. So my plan was to meet the masses with all books.
With the library's new budget, leaders hope to expand services and provide even more resources to the community. For details on upcoming events, visit this story on our website. In Middleton, I'm your neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez for Idaho News 6.
There's a big difference between outcomes depending on how much access kids have to books.
Reading is the key to a good education. How you can help local kids, coming up. Give a child a book and you open up a world of opportunity. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, and Idaho News 6 and the Scripps Howard Foundation are hoping that you'll join us in an effort to get kids excited about learning by getting a book of their own. Reading is vital to good education, and too many kids are having trouble learning that crucial skill.
It really, from kindergarten through second grade, kids are learning to read, and beyond that, they're reading to learn. So if a student isn't reading on grade level by third grade, then they're missing learning time because they're still working on learning to read.
The good news is reading proficiency by third grade has actually gone up in Idaho from 66% last year to 71% this year. That's slightly higher also than the national average, but still too low. And educators say kids who have a book of their own have a sense of ownership that helps in the classroom.
We want kids, just like if I want to learn about something, I can go pick out the type of book or text that I want to read to learn or access something. We want every single one of our kids to be able to have that same ownership and agency to pick out books.
This Wednesday, September 3rd, the Scripps Howard Fund will match donations up to $200,000 nationwide. So if you'd like to donate and join our effort to give a child a book and a chance, scan the QR code on your screen or text Idaho News 6 to 50155. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, Idaho News 6.
6:26, thanks for joining us this Tuesday morning on Good Morning Idaho. We've got a lot more in store, though, in our last half hour. Here's what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
In downtown Boise, protesters at the Idaho State Capitol are speaking out for better work conditions, and one candidate running for governor joins in solidarity.
In Jerome, the College of Southern Idaho has a new home for soccer.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Good to have you along after the long holiday weekend. We've got a lot to get to in our last half hour from our team of neighborhood reporters out working hard for you, like our Greenlee Clark, who introduces us to a 12-year-old Eagle bull rider, riding bulls at 12. Dylan Doyen is his name. He's headed to the World Finals. We'll tell you about him. Also, Joy Martin shows us another sign of growth in the Magic Valley. College of Southern Idaho soccer team getting a new soccer pitch. They don't have to use the local high school anymore. All right, let's get the latest on our weather, though, to kick things off on this half hour on a Tuesday. And, well, not much of a change. I mean, it's going to be hot once again.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the trend this week. It's going to be hot and dry, but as we head into the next week, that's when things actually are going to get a lot cooler out there. So hang in there, especially for those of you who may not be a fan of the heat. Take a look at all of us, though. Across the Pacific Northwest, from Oregon up towards Washington and even northern Idaho, you've got extreme heat warnings, heat advisories, and even a red flag warning in place. Now, today we don't have any advisories, but we still do have the heat. So as you head into the bus stop, kiddos, just make sure you've got your water bottle. You've got lower 70s by the later afternoon and evening, head mid 90s, and we stop at about 98 this afternoon. So it's going to be a hot one again, Roland. But the good news is we're getting our first taste of fall next week, so it'll be perfect for pumpkin spice latte weather.
Yeah,
my favorite.
You know what I like right now is the creamsicles. For some reason, I'm back into the creamsicles. I haven't had those since I was a kid, and they are great in this weather. All right, thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now to the state capitol yesterday, where around 1,000 Idahoans gathered to voice their discontent with President Trump, as well as demands for a system of government that puts working-class Idahoans first. Our Sahana Patel shows us the scene.
Fighting for fair labor. I'm your neighborhood reporter Sahana Patel at the Idaho State Capitol, where protesters spent their Labor Day demanding better work conditions, and a candidate running for governor joined in solidarity.
Forced to make us accustomed to fear.
While many are enjoying their long weekend, a crowd of protesters gathered outside the Idaho State Capitol to fight for their rights on the job.
You know, I don't want Trump touching my money. I don't want Trump ruining my chances of getting hired at another university.
The Boise protest, organized locally by Idaho 5051 as part of a nationwide movement, pressed for better rights and protections for the working people. Maxine Durand, an independent candidate for Idaho governor, says this movement hits close to home, reflecting her family's labor roots.
I myself, I'm fifth generation labor family. It's something that my family would not have been able to get out of poverty without the labor unions.
The campaign includes policies like college and Medicare for all, and a minimum wage hike to $15 an hour.
But then going forward, have a step rate increase over time tied to the consumer price index and tied to the rate of inflation year over year. That way, even though you're raising the minimum wage once, it continues to raise automatically over time.
Durand says these are basic rights Idahoans deserve.
They're not lazy. You know, they're working full-time, sometimes multiple full-time jobs, just to put food on the table, and they're continuously seeing the price of the American dream get further and further out of reach.
Protesters say it's time for the American dream to catch up with standards for many workers abroad.
To fund work rights type of movements, such as paid vacation in Sweden. Every worker, from a gas station worker to a doctor, has 5 weeks paid vacation each year.
If you want America to survive the way we want it to be, with everyone free, everyone, no matter what color their skin is, everyone should be free in this country. That's what we're made up of. And that's what's make us great.
At the Idaho State Capitol, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, for Idaho News 6.
Now, Boise was just one of many cities across the country that took to the streets in protest of President Trump and other wealthy elites. ABC's Morgan Norwood has a look at the scene from D.C. to California.
Protesters taking to the streets on Labor Day, railing against President Trump and other billionaires who they claim are taking power away from the working class.
We call not only on community leaders, but our elected officials to stand with us as we continue to fight to protect home rule.
D.C.'s mayor struggling to walk a political tightrope, initially welcoming federal law enforcement, but later saying the involvement of immigration agents went too far, criticizing the use by some agents of masks to hide their identities. But Trump praising D.C.'s mayor yesterday, saying, wow, Mayor Muriel Bowser of D.C. has become very popular because she worked with me and my great people in bringing crime down to virtually nothing in D.C. The Trump administration says among the recent arrests in D.C. is a suspected MS-13 gang member in the country illegally.
No troops in Chicago! No troops in Chicago!
In Chicago, demonstrators condemning Trump's threat to launch an immigration crackdown in the Windy City as soon as this week.
We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago.
The mayor threatening legal action and signing an order barring Chicago police from helping federal authorities with immigration enforcement. In the meantime, new data shows the administration's immigration crackdown is reshaping the U.S. labor force. More than 1.2 million immigrants have vanished from the workforce since January. Immigrants make up nearly 1 in 5 U.S. workers, including nearly half of all farm workers and 1/3 of construction workers. Farm advocates say crops have been left to rot, and contractors say they're now struggling to fill crews at job sites. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
For Idaho News 6, I'm senior reporter Don Nelson. Every Labor Day, the local unions get together here at Kristen Armstrong Park in Boise to say thank you to all the hard workers in the valley. What's Labor Day without a Labor Day picnic to celebrate Idaho's workers? How important are local unions to the growth of the Treasure Valley?
I think they're critically important as far as right now we're having a shortage of workers and inviting workers from other areas into our area. And I think unions have really brought up a lot of our wages.
Leland Heinbeck from Plumbers and Pipe Fitters 296 has hosted this Labor Day picnic for over 10 years. This picnic itself has been held at this Boise Park since the 1980s for the simple reason of celebrating workers. All local unions are invited, and they expect to feed between 300 and 400 people. Everything from tri-tip to pulled pork to burgers and dogs, and yes, even good old corn on the cob. Reporting from Kristen Armstrong Park on this Labor Day, I'm senior reporter Don Nelson, Idaho News 6.
As crews get a handle on the rock fire near Tamarack Resort, they're beginning to repair the damage from both the fire and the firefight. Thanks to cool weather and recent rains, the fire is now about 74% contained. More than 400 people are still working the fire, though. That's down from more than 900 just a few weeks ago. Nearby trails remain closed.
The College of Southern Idaho's new soccer programs now have a home field of their own. I'm your Jerome neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, and on Friday afternoon, the Golden Eagles hit the pitch for the very first time at the brand new Founders Park in Jerome.
The future of collegiate soccer in southern Idaho took a huge step forward with CSI's brand new soccer field in Jerome.
Eagles on 3, 1, 2, 3. Eagles! Come on.
After last year's inaugural season played at Jerome High School, the new Founders Park field is a dream come true for CSI, the city of Jerome, and the Jerome Recreation District.
Exciting, you know, who would have thought that we would have a collegiate program here in Jerome, Idaho?
This is a project that started out a couple of years ago, and initially it was just going to be soccer fields, and then CSI's president came to us and said, hey, we're starting a soccer program. This is a great chance for us to partner up.
And partner up they did, with the Jerome Rec District building the collegiate-sized soccer field as one of the main features of the brand new Founders Park. For CSI Athletic Director Daquan Montreal, bringing Golden Eagle soccer to Jerome has been the plan since day one.
This has been huge, right? In the last 2 years, we've been looking forward to this day. Community showed out, super grateful for Jerome, city of Jerome, Jerome Rec District, and this amazing facility that we get to unfold today, to have this space, not only from a recruiting tool, but also offer what we have here in Jerome to the community in Jerome. You look at the fans here today, and this is great for the community.
CSI Women's head coach Andrew Zaleski says having a pitch of their own means everything for the future.
I think it kind of just makes it like it's like our stamp on things, right? Like we're really here. This is our field, this is our home, and we're trying to build a lot this year and prove that soccer is here at CSI and here in Idaho.
The CSI women picked up the inaugural win 2-1 over Casper College, but the men fell short after the women dropping the home opener to Casper College 2-0.
If you want to see the Golden Eagles for yourself on their own home field, conference play starts Saturday. Reporting in Jerome, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
20 minutes before the hour on this Tuesday, let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood today. An update for you on a Garden City project that was set to close a portion of the Greenbelt today. It's been delayed. You can see a map of the closure here. The city announcing that work will not begin until Monday, September 8th. So Greenbelt access is open through the weekend. You can find details of the project in Garden City neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker's story on our website, idahonews6.com. Boise Schools looking for part-time workers to be school crossing guards. An event this morning from 10 to noon where you can learn more about that at Hyatt Place Boise's executive conference room. They are looking for workers to cover 2 hours a day on weekdays with shifts available both before and after school to keep our kids safe. And of course, you can spend the evening at Indian Creek Plaza for another night of free live music with Tuesdays on the Creek. Tonight's show features Ashley Flynn and the Riveters, set to take the stage from 7:30 to 9 this evening. And the summer concert series also held in conjunction with Farm to Fork Market, so you can shop around local vendors while enjoying the great music.
In Eagle, a 12-year-old who's ridden more than 100 bulls now is one of only 36 kids in the world competing for a championship buckle. 8 seconds, 1 bull, and a local junior bull rider ready to take on the biggest stage of his life. I'm your Eagle neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, talking with the rider about his passion leading him to compete in the World Finals. Woo! Come on, Dylan! Ride! At just 12 years old, Dylan Doyon has ridden more than 100 bulls, preparing him for the biggest ride of his life. He first got interested in the sport at the Eagle Rodeo not long after his family moved to town in 2019.
I didn't realize how much of a sport I was getting myself into, and I thought I was gonna just hop on and ride and be done with it, but since then I wanted to come back the next year.
In the last 2 years, Dylan has taken the sport more seriously, training with Kevin Hansen at Rodeo Fever in Caldwell.
He's shown me to always have a good attitude, don't matter what happens.
Dylan's dad, Ryan, plays a crucial role too.
Fine, okay.
Always standing by his side before the ride.
Dylan's dad is back there with him, not only prepping all of his gear for the ride, but ultimately spotting him so that if something goes wrong with that bull in the chute, he's the one saving Dylan from really getting hurt back there. So they make a good team. They couldn't do it without one another.
This year's consistent rides earned him enough points to qualify for the International Miniature Bull Riders Association World Finals.
That definitely makes me appreciate how much I'm putting in the work, because that means 36 kids from the whole world got to make it, and I was one of them.
Dylan is a regular at rodeos across Idaho, from Eagle to Caldwell and the Kuna Stampede. He says the cheers from the crowd make all the difference.
I'm very appreciative for being able to represent this town.
Dylan takes his first ride at the IMBA World Finals on September 3rd in Ogden, Utah. If he places high enough, he'll advance through the week all the way to a shot at a championship buckle. I'm your Eagle neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, for Idaho News 6.
Well, good morning, everyone. Your time right now is 6:45, and our neighborhood of the day is West Boise, where this afternoon we're expecting to hover near the triple digits. So prepare for a hot day. I'll be showing you when relief is on the way.
If you give a child a book, you give a child a chance. Research shows children who do not read at grade level by the end of the 3rd grade are 4 times less likely to graduate high school. That's why Idaho News 6 and the Scripps Howard Fund are back with our Give a Child a Book campaign. We're partnering with local schools to get books in the hands of students. And you can support with your donations by scanning the QR code on your screen. Visit idahonews6.com for more information.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Hey everybody, it is 6:48, and as you get ready with us on this Tuesday morning, it's nice to see your face again. Now, as we get ready for the approaching week, it is going to be pretty hot today, but into the weekend and early next week, we're going to start to see our first taste of fall. So lots of exciting things coming our way, but you'll notice this morning, it's still pretty quiet out there and cool. 74 to start the day, but in comparison to where we normally sit throughout our mornings, about 65, that's still a pretty warm start. Now, across the area, it all looks cool for all of us, so it feels good in the morning. You've got 59 as you head out in Boise, 60 in Mountain Home, 61 over in Glenns Ferry, and as you make your way into this afternoon, the heat is returning. So it's again like we're turning on an oven, and we're not really being taken out, or at least someone forgot to cool us down. You've got 98 into this afternoon in Boise, 99 in Mountain Home, 101 in Glenns Ferry. Our mountains will continue to see those upper 80s and some 90s on the board, but tomorrow we'll see some slight relief. Temperatures slowly start to dip towards those mid-90s along your valley floors, with upper 80s to follow in your mountains. And here's where things get good. I know we've been talking a lot about the heat over the weekend and into the start of this week, but things will eventually cool down. So cooler weather is in sight, and as you take a look at our temperature outlook, this is for September 10th through the 16th, where you see all of this light blue, we're included right in it. That means that we're looking at cooler than normal temperatures expected as we head into the next week. Now, making your way further off into the east, it looks like they'll be seeing a little bit of a warm up, but on top of the cooler weather here, we'll also be looking at some rain chances, it looks like. So our precipitation outlook looks from September 10th through the 16th, wetter than normal. So it looks like we'll see a really good likelihood of having above average for precipitation for September. But let's talk about our temperatures first, because I feel like we need to see some relief in visual sight because it's been so hot. And while it is still going to be hot through the end of the work week, it's not going to be as hot as what we saw yesterday. You've got 91 through Friday, and then those mid 80s through Monday. Next week, we'll start to see some 70s, and it looks like consistently over 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with mid 70s throughout the afternoon. It looks like we'll be looking at cooler weather and even some unsettled weather in the approaching week ahead. But we do even have some rain chances in store for this week. Taking a look at our chance of rain, this shows our precipitation outlook, and a lot of it focused over those southern areas into Friday and our east central mountains. By Saturday, this chance actually gets a little bit higher, so between 30 upwards towards 50% in our east and west central mountains, even some slight chances for our valley floors. Looks like just to the south of the Twin Falls area, you'll be seeing a higher chance also. So we'll be looking at some unsettled weather into the weekend, but you've got lower 90s through at least Friday. By Saturday, Sunday, and into next week, that's when we'll slowly start to see our first taste of fall. But also, what's back right now is our not Monday morning commute, it's Tuesday. Let's go get you ready for your morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, here's another look of downtown where commuters are heading out, and even though it is not a Monday, it does probably feel that way, especially if coming back from those long holiday weekends, but we'll get through it together. You've got I-84 eastbound looking to be the most congested this morning, which is usually expected. If you're making your way across downtown, you've got all nice green routes coming your way. You've also got I-84 eastbound Caldwell to Garrity, just under about 14 minutes. Garrity into Eagle coming in at 30, and Eagle into downtown also just under 7 minutes. So heads up for all my Eagle commuters this morning, it's a little bit heavier out there.
this morning's GMA First Look, Hershey Park hero.
Everybody was like, oh my God, there's a kid up there. There's a kid up there.
Amusement park officials at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania says this little boy entered a section of the monorail, which was not in operation, through a secure area that was chained and barricaded. Horrified bystanders watching him walk along the monorail from below Saturday evening.
Stop! Keep going! No! Keep going!
That's when a man sprang into action, running to the roof of a concession stand, hoping it could get him close to the monorail. And this morning, that quick-thinking hero is speaking out to GMA.
When you have that kind of dad instinct, it doesn't matter if it's your kid or not, it's a child, that you want to make sure they're safe as possible.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on this theme park rescue with your GMA First Look. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
We are back 5 minutes before the hour, and we're wrapping things up here on Good Morning Idaho, everyone. And these are the top stories, if you missed them, that we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
And Morrison Park will soon be filled with rainbows and celebration this weekend as Boise Pride Fest returns September 6th and 7th. But organizers say the celebration will look and feel different after a tough fundraising season.
But despite the challenges, community support has helped keep the event alive, and there will be a fireworks show whether or not they meet their fundraising goal.
In Eagle, a 12-year-old who's ridden more than 100 bulls now is one of only 36 kids in the world competing for a championship buckle. This bull rider's passion started at a young age when he went to the Eagle Rodeo for the first time. Traveling all over the Treasure Valley, he now finds himself on the world stage.
A colorful new addition is now complete here at Redwood Park. The sculpture known as Passage uses sunlight to add a splash of color to the park through stained glass style tiles in the archway. It even features lights to illuminate the area at night.
And of course, you can learn more about all these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
All right, just a time check for you. It is 6:56, and as you get ready to end your day, to start your day, we're just waking up. You've got 9 a.m., lower 70s by the lunchtime. We'll be seeing 90s on the board into 1 o'clock. But this afternoon and evening ahead, we'll be stopping at those upper 90s. Now, there is more relief in sight as we head into the next week. So if you want to check out the rest of the forecast, you can head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, let's get you ready to head into work and school.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, it is 6:57 now, and we are giving you a live look of downtown where people are heading out on their Tuesday morning. Welcome back from the holiday break. As you make your way across the area, I-84 eastbound looking to be the most congestion. Also a little congestion on Karcher Road as you make your way into Caldwell. It looks like if you're heading in that direction. Chittenden Boulevard to US 20 though, eastbound just under 13 minutes, so nice and smooth there. If you're heading into the airport from downtown Meridian, just under 21 minutes, and Boise into Caldwell just westbound at about 28 minutes. So just something to keep in mind if you're traveling in that direction. But overall, I-84 eastbound Garrity into Eagle, another spot that's about 30 minutes this morning. And before we go, Roland, we didn't get to talk about it last week, so I'm excited. Yeah. We're talking about it now. Yeah. Taylor Swift is making headlines again, and it's because her album, and that's expected to come out on October 3rd, has the most pre-saves in Spotify history. It's called The Life of a Showgirl, and it's expected to come out this fall. So that's some exciting news. That, and I have a theory that she's going to be the Super Bowl halftime performance.
That's a good guess, I think. I mean, it's kind of amazing that she announces that she's engaged just before this thing comes out. I'm so happy for both of them. I mean, two people who have nothing really in their lives, and they've found each other now. Isn't that just a wonderful thing?
I love them. I'm a Swiftie. You know I am.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.